Hey, beautiful people. Happy Monday. I am back with you. This is Tina Lorenz, and today I'm going to talk about an HGTV throwdown. I know it's kind of sacrilegious, but I'm going to talk about not being beige and how you live your life, but being bold instead. So, what in the world do I mean by that? Well, actually, I was reading an article in the Washington Post this weekend, and it was talking about what's happening in home decor because of the influence of HGTV and really what I would call the beige syndrome in our lives. And so the thing that's happening with that, when you see the natural um, white marble countertops and everything's light gray or white or very, very monochromatic, very open concept, really very similar when people are looking for homes on the house hunting shows and all of that, or when they're just doing decorating in a lot of the shows. And what it's led to, ironically, is kind of a standardization of how many people, I will not myself included, think they need to decorate. And so I was thinking about how this relates to business and how we can find the kind of the metaphor in that about how we play it safe in our business and how we market and how we communicate and how we show up, all of these things. Like you may notice my backgrounds when I do videos are very vibrant because I'm all about color. I'm all about the energy of color. But if you watch a lot of other videos, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying there's a whole lot of the sameness in how people are showing up on Zoom, how people are showing up in their videos. And so the question I want to ask you today is, are we sacrificing our creativity for the sake of playing it safe? Now, I just did a video in the last few days called Purple Hair Don't Care, and it was kind of touching on this topic. And then when I read this article, it expanded out even further because the article talked about a study by the Journal of Consumer Research, a recent study that came up with the concept of reflected gaze, right? What the heck does that mean? A market reflected gaze. And what they were saying is that with the studies they've done, that home buyers, if you're selling your home, will judge your decorating, and that can influence their buying decision. Instead of just like, well, I'll paint this wall white, or I'll paint the cabinet gray, it's like, I'm not buying this house because it doesn't fit into this category. And so this is a standardization of home decor that's making people, the sad part of this is that it's actually making people uneasy with their own surroundings of how they choose to live. Because what if they want to sell a house someday? And you've probably heard realtors tell you this. And there's some, I understand. I knew somebody that was trying to sell, someone in their family was trying to sell a home. And apparently one of the rooms of the home was completely filled with mounted heads of their conquest from hunting. And so everywhere you look, there were eyeballs staring at you and antlers and ears. And yeah, I do think there's things that could kind of put people off when they're looking for a home. But what I want to talk about really isn't just what color would you like your kitchen to be, but how do we translate this into the business world? How do we sometimes mold our decisions to please our potential clients and audience? And is that the right approach? Now, I'm going to be the first to say there's certain marketing strategies and practices and that type of thing that we need to be aware of and incorporate. But still, there's room for you to shine through in your own creativity. Or maybe you've just had kind of a feeling about something that you think you'd like to try, but you're afraid to because you're zigging when everybody else is zagging, or they're zigging, you're zagging, whatever. You're going the opposite direction. And maybe you're afraid to try it. And of course, my vote's going to be, why don't you try it? Because maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to push you forward and really get you noticed. Because then we're talking about personalization versus standardization, not only in home decor, but how we market, how we present ourselves, and how do we let how people want us or think we should show up be the major influence of how we actually show up. And just like in your home, because when we're talking about the article about home decor, people are actually kind of sad in their own homes because they felt they had to toe the line with that standard of what's expected right now, with this kind of monochromatic open concept. Everything's gray, everything's, light colors or no color. And so they're living that way, even though they personally would rather not. So are you doing that in your business? Are you doing webinars when you really don't want to? Are you not doing videos when you really actually want to? What is it that you're doing? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't push past your comfort zone sometimes. Our comfort zone can be an imprisonment because we don't want to step out of it and do something new and different. But if there's that little voice calling to you, if there's that kind of inner wisdom that keeps on pulling you forward, pay attention to it. Because how can we bring our unique essence into our projects, into our programs that we create, into our marketing? There's a trend, for example, a lot of marketers will say, oh, ugly websites sell, ugly pages do better. We don't know why, they just do. I just can't do that. It's just not in me to have an ugly website or have an ugly page. And so whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I've done all right for the last almost 19 years, coming up on a 19-year anniversary here online. But I've always followed the path that I want it to represent me in a certain way. I want to represent myself in a certain way. I'm never going to be the person that shows up on camera in an old t-shirt and no makeup and like I just got out of bed. Some people do that and they do it beautifully, absolutely fantastic. That's not me, right? And so, how does that apply to you? What is it that you're doing or not doing? And so really I kind of want you to break out from no aspersions to the color beige, but kind of break out of what I think of as just this monochromatic kind of non-color, break out of the beige zone, whatever that looks like for you. Now, one of the ways to do that is to leverage our modern tools that we have at our availability. And you know what I'm going to say, right? If you watch me at all, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is, I believe, a divinely gifted creative source for we mere humans, that there are certain people that their divine calling, their divine assignment was to create something like we have now with ChatGPT, to understand how AI works, to speak the language of the computer world and create something that we in our regular lives and our marketing lives can use. And so really understanding the power of ChatGPT and how AI tools like ChatGPT can either stifle or amplify your creativity. And it really just depends on how you use it. It depends on the kind of conversation you're having with it. Now, I read someone that's very well known online in the last few days was writing how they're never going to use ChatGPT. They won't write a single word that's inspired by ChatGPT. And they're carrying their banner high. And this can be a polarizing message. Maybe mine's polarizing because I'm saying I'm for it. I started off as a skeptic and now I use it every single day because my view of it, and they're certainly entitled to theirs, and they can stay in what they consider the land of purity with creativity, that they would never, ever taint any of their words with anything ChatGPT might even suggest. Okay, that's fine for them. What I have found is that I believe ChatGPT started from divine source. And I think it is ultimately divinely inspired and that it can be a gift to us. Can any of these things be misused? Absolutely. Can nefarious deeds happen? Can shenanigans happen? Happens all the time, every single day. Politics, business, marketing, family life, relationships, it's everywhere, right? It's up to us, the decisions that we make of how we move forward and what we do. And so my perspective is that we embrace this technology as a catalyst. We embrace it as a new portal opening, just like we did when people first went online, when email marketing first started. I mean, if we hadn't embraced electricity, we'd all be going around with our candles and kerosene lamps because some strange invisible force could make illumination happen. This is to be feared. And that's the thing I hear. So I have often heard people say, I'm scared. This is creepy. I'm afraid of it, right? But here's how I see it. I've talked about this before, but it's kind of my divine formula for ChatGPT is AI plus AI equals AI. Accelerated, no, wrong end, go back to this end, ancestral intelligence. Let's not do the problem backwards here. Ancestral intelligence, which is our generational wisdom that is there for us. Some people might call it universal wisdom. I consider it divine source that we have access to if we will listen, watch, learn, pay attention, ask the right questions, that is there for us. It's already there for us. We already have knowledge that we're not accessing. Next is artificial intelligence. This is where we take that ancestral intelligence, and it's been by certain individuals that have this gift have been able to turn it into what we're going to call ChatGPT in our AI of artificial intelligence. And that wisdom is there based on a corpus of knowledge from everything that's ever been published up to a certain point of the end of 2021. We combine those two and it equals AI accelerated impact. We can move faster. We can create faster. We can research faster. We get ideas faster. And if you're using it with the right kind of conversation, the right kind of prompts, it's going to generate more creativity. It's going to give you more ideas. It's like this partner in your business that can give you feedback and thoughts, share a thought with you, thought, heart to robotic heart thought that might then trigger something for you. And that's how I have found it to be for myself. It's really about how we use it. And so this is where the individuality comes through with AI collaboration. It's a partner, it's a collaboration, it's a two-way street, it's a two-way conversation. And so that doesn't mean losing your individuality, that unless you just hand it over, it's up to us not to, right? To assume and retain our position of authority in the conversation. I see it as an equal partnership, not, AI is here and we're here, or AI is down there and we're here. It's a mutual partnership when we're using ChatGPT. Now, I'm not an expert in any other kinds of AI. I'm talking about ChatGPT, and that it can be a partnership that elevates our unique voice. So, for example, if you need to do research that took you weeks, when I did research for a financial letter I wrote for other topics I've written on about herbal remedies and so many hand-to-hand combat, so many things I've written about that I did not have expertise in, that I had to research for weeks, you can compress time and do this research literally, some of it in minutes, and at the most, maybe a few hours. You can have rich resource to guide you and inspire you and inform you as you start creating. So it's always person first, ChatGPT second, right? You come first. When you create these ideas, a thought, a concept from your own head, or you've asked a question of ChatGPT and it points you in the right direction, and then you take that and run with it, and you say, well, what about this? I'm thinking about that, or can you analyze this? Amazing things unfold for you. And so one of the things now with ChatGPT is called custom instructions. And the custom instructions, even just a few weeks ago, it was being rolled out as a beta and only in the paid version of ChatGPT 4. Already, it's not even in beta anymore. If you go to your ChatGPT 4 especially, and go down a little 3 dots next to your name and click on beta, it's not there because it's been incorporated into the general way ChatGPT works, including for those that are using the free version of 3.5. And so what does that do for you? It can provide better ways for you to communicate with ChatGPT itself, but you can also do these custom instructions on behalf of a client you would be working with. And ChatGPT will give you the prompts of thought generators, right? There's only 1,500 characters. There's 2 boxes that you can fill in, and there's only 1,500 characters, but you can get a lot. If you're thinking it through, you can get a lot into 1,500 characters. It doesn't have to be big, long sentences. And so some of the prompts it asks are things like, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you? What would you like me, so to speak, ChatGPT to know about how I can give you better responses? What are things that you could talk about endlessly all day long? What goals do you have? What hobbies do you have? How would you like to be addressed? You can literally ask it to call you by name if you so desire. So when you're having your conversation, say, hey, Tina, and personalize it for you. And you can do this on behalf of your clients. So if you have their information, you put it in there, and then all your conversations as you're researching are based on these parameters you gave it about your client. It's going to speak in that voice for the client, on behalf of the client, in the responses it gives you. You see what this does? It starts personalizing, really dialing in and refining the voice of the person it's representing, whether that's you or whether you're doing this on behalf of a client and you're looking for the ideas. And so you can even tell it whether you want it to remain neutral or give you opinions. I personally want it to give me opinions. I'll say, I'm thinking about using this sentence versus this sentence. Pretend you are, and fill in the blank with whatever you're writing for, whether it's a decision maker, whether it's a client that someone you want to connect with. There's so many ways, or it's the voice of the marketing itself. And what do you recommend for this purpose, this or this? And you can lay out what it is you're trying to accomplish. And ChatGPT at this level will say, well, if you're trying to do this, this is why this one could be effective. And on the other hand, if you want to accomplish this could be more effective, and this is why. It's not telling you, do this, don't do that. Absolutely. It's allowing your creativity. It's spurring on the conversation, the two-way conversation, so that you continue with your own creativity and make a decision about what you're going to use and why. And when you make that decision, you can feed that into ChatGPT and say, I've decided to do this because of this, or I don't agree with what you just said because of this. I think this could work better. And you may get a reflection back of, now that you mention it, Tina, I see your point. This could be very effective because, and it will tell you why. And these are all creativity generators, not stiflers, right? So I want to encourage you not only to explore that, the technology that can help you with this and how it can align with your human-centered values, but all aspects of your marketing and how you're showing up. So I challenge you to explore these possibilities and not to be afraid, just to go dabble in it and just go dabble in the free version and see what you get, because really this is about the joy of embracing your unique style. That should be part of the issue. The reward of being entrepreneurial or being in business is you get to be you. You get to be you, fully you. And some people are going to say, well, that's great, but that one's not for me. And some are going to say, love it, absolutely resonate with this message. It sparks that joy that helps you love what you do when you're unafraid to be innovative. So this isn't about stifling. This is my purple hair don't care kind of moment, right? And so when you go against the grain, and so what are some things I did that were different? I didn't start an online business till I was past 50. If I'd listened to the voice of the majority, I never would have even begun. I decided to go ahead and go for it, even though I had no experience. I showed up fully as me. I've gone from auburn hair to purple hair because I just felt like it. 7 years ago, I wanted to have some purple in my hair, and here it is. The way I decorate my home, the way we live is fully embracing color, because for me, color is energy, color is expression, color is creativity. And it not only energizes me, but I believe it can energize those that I come in contact with as well. And it makes people smile, it makes people happy. I've had people say, oh, I just love the energy, and that to me is like a great reward to even hear that. I bring in humor. I bring in spirituality. I've talked about spirituality in my business for over a decade. I kept it quiet. I was one of those people that was being beige when it came to the spirituality, how it affects me in my life and in my business, the neuroscience aspect. I was pretty beige about all that. I wasn't talking about it. And I was a little bit afraid to start doing it. And now it's like, just try to shut me up. It's just part of my business. It's how I live my life. The ups and downs of it as well. And it's also built into every single program or product I have and how I work with my clients. And humor, this isn't exactly in anybody's marketing 101 guidebook of how to show up online, but I periodically bing, 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 tap people on the head with my fuzzy magic wand because I think it's fun, because it's colorful, because I'm trying to, give you an example of, you don't have to have anybody else give you the power, but you can borrow some of mine until you feel like you've got your own, whatever it takes. So here's the conclusion of all of this. Don't be beige. Don't be beige. Be bold. Be bold. Really make that connection between what's HGTV doing to us as a society. I love HGTV. Okay, I'm just going to say I wouldn't even know about this if I didn't watch the show, right? I watch a lot of the shows on HGTV. I enjoy them, but don't live with regret. Don't live thinking, if only I'd been heard, if only I'd actually said that, if only I actually sang that song that I have in my heart, instead of marching along to somebody else's drum, somebody else's requirements for my life or expectation, or what has always been the case. And what would happen if you just shook things up and stepped out of line, right? Step out of your comfort zone. Be true to yourself. Be true to your messaging. Embrace your unique differences. Celebrate them, because it's really all about the authenticity and innovation of all of these things, of being able to do this in your life and in your business. And speaking of HGTV, I'm going to show you an example right now, because I'm not just talking the talk here. This is my fireplace. Okay. And one of the first things we did when we bought this house, it was stucco. It was kind of dingy. It was kind of beige. It was like 40 years old. And I just had a vision for what I thought our fireplace should look like. And so I found someone to do it for me and to bring my vision to life. It had to have a hummingbird. It had to have color. It had to have floral. I wanted a tropical theme. I love it. It makes me feel good to look at it every single day. My husband loves it. I love it. And we sit by it to watch television. We light it up in the winter. And I can assure you, there's nothing in our house that's beige. Not one thing. And so I just remember that even with ChatGPT, with tools like this, we have control over how we use it. We're the guidance. We're the master of our universe, and we get to decide exactly how these things are used. So I'm going to challenge you today. Find one thing, one aspect of your life that you're thinking that you maybe been stifling or hiding or afraid to say or do, and just do it today. Just do it publicly, not all by yourself. Don't declare it to your empty living room, but just where can you show up with just one nugget that you might have gotten that spurred you on from this conversation. And I see I have lots of comments today about this, and all of the amazing things that you can do in your life, in your marketing. Use the tools that are available to you. Don't be afraid of them, but always lead the way. The human heart, spirit, and soul leads the way. And all of those other things are kind of that frosting on the cake that make it that much more effective for us, and that much more impactful. So, and today I'm going to go stand in the middle of color because we're going to the Van Gogh Immersive Art Experience as our anniversary celebration. I bought tickets over a month ago. It's here in Tucson. We're on our way right now. So I got to go, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss you today with my commitment to show up every day for 30 days in a row. And I will be back tomorrow. This is Tina Lorenz. Thanks so much for being here. Love you for showing up, and love you for showing up in your own life. And I will talk to you again soon.